We're here with Santino Ferrucci, who just finished a pretty hectic chili bowl, but we're probably one of the few people here that aren't going to ask him what's the difference between a midget and an Indy car. The story I wanted to tell goes back to the 2023 Indianapolis 500, and I'd been there after a 21-year layoff of going to the Indy 500, and I didn't really have anyone to cheer for. And since you'd run the chili bowl, I followed you all day. And one of the things my dad and I get fascinated about by the Indy 500 are all the what ifs. And I feel like you had one of the biggest what ifs of all time that most people don't even have a clue about, which came at the end of the night of the 2023 Indy 500. First of all, could you take us briefly through the race and how it went for you?
I mean, that race in particular was long. I mean, we were riding in sixth for a while, and it was just about saving the car. People in front of us were getting taken out left and right. I mean, we had a narrow avoidance of an incident in turn two with Felix Rosenquist and Kyle Kirkwood, where that tire got sheared off and went between the stands and the suites, which is an honestly act of God, steering all of that around. And yeah, we were there in the end. We were running third, fourth. I got up to second and came on the radio and asked my boss Larry. I was like, "Hey man, care if we lead a few laps? We got the fuel to do that." And hell yeah, we sent it out front, and we actually no one could touch us. So we were a fast enough car to run out front and not be drafted and pass. So did final stops. We came back out, cycled third or fourth. Pato got into it with Ericsson, and there's a couple of restarts between then, but that one of the second to last restarts was where it was a little hectic. I knew that with restarting to third, Newgarden taking the field to green, he'd start faster because we were on the Chevrolets. The Hondas like to start them off a little slower. So I just tried to time it right with him to where when Ericsson popped, I would have the momentum to then, if I could take it anywhere but the bottom, I would. So I was either willing to split them or take it up the top, because I felt like that's always the best place to be coming to the end. If you're in the bottom, you normally get pinched and you wreck. So we went green. We got going, man. And, dude, I came up on the wall, and I cleared Newgarden for sure. Ericsson, just as we were coming into one, I knew I was going to lift, tuck back in behind him in the short chute, and then pass him into three, and that was race over. But they wrecked for 26th place. So that's how it works. And then, yeah, when you go out from the pits to green, it was definitely a fascinating call from IndyCar. Didn't make a difference for me where I would have finished. Coming back, I needed Newgarden to be leading the field to green again. With Ericsson's restart, you had no idea what he was going to do, how he was going to do it. It was something that's completely unnatural, and I just didn't have – he'd start us off so slow that it was so hard for me and Joseph to build momentum. He
started fairly early too, did he not?
He did. He started in the short chute, which we don't normally do. And, yeah, so we were all a little spread. He caught both me and Joseph off guard, and I just didn't have the momentum like I had the first run to get it there in the end. So, yeah, I ended up third.
So in 2024, it was very easy to pass, but I feel like in 2023, if you were able to make the pass, it was pretty much over. Is that a fair assessment, or?
Yeah, 2024 was tough. I mean, it was a big fuel save year in 24, so the racing was honestly not great. Just because we're all doing 220 miles an hour down the straight or 210, and no one wanted to pass each other, so we're lifting at the line. And we didn't have a great balance that year, so it was a tough year. I mean, finishing eighth was a bit of a feat for us, considering everything that had happened in practice and how the car was going.
So in 1991, Rick Mears won the 500 with a very iconic pass of Michael Andretti, and your pass was basically setting up to be the same situation. As you said, you may not have finished the pass in 1 and 2, but you feel like you would have got him down the backstretch.
100%. We were the best car all day long. Once Pato Award was knocked out and VK was gone, it was just us. So we had all of us had cars to win, and I was the only one surviving at the end. And like I said, once we cleared two, it was over.
So once you lead laps at Indy and you run third, is this a race that you have lots of regrets over, or are you comfortable with it? Or we heard Pato Award say the famous "Indy owes me nothing." Do you feel that way, or?
I love that race. I mean, it's a gamble every time you go in. Like I said, I feel like I've lost two there. I have a fourth and a third, both of which, yellow's got the best of me. And for me, I know I'm going to win that race. It's just when I'm going to win it. So I'm not in any rush. I've got a lot of years left at the Speedway. Accomplishing 4 like my boss is quite the feat, but definitely feel like I'll be on the board one of these days.
That's one last question I wanted to ask. It's right around AJ Foyt's 90th birthday, if it isn't actually
Thursday.
Thursday. What's it like driving for AJ Foyt, and what's that mean?
It's awesome. Man, I feel like I grew up 30 years too soon in this sport. I would have loved to have seen him in the end of his heyday and have him as active as he was then, and just listen to his stories. I get to ride around with him. He's at the track all month of May with us on the car. He's an incredible boss. He's such a caring man. He's a fierce competitor, to say the least. But, man, if he doesn't like you, stay out of his way. It is the most insane thing. But he's my ride out to the golf cart. It's like the coolest thing. Every time we got to go out to pit lane, I grab AJ. I'm like, all right, you ready? So he rips the golf cart out on pit lane and basically runs over anybody that's in the way. It's amazing.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.